Labor's 2035 interim emission reduction targets. Cost and credibility are key, and as I said this morning, we will interrogate and test this announcement for cost and credibility. It fails on both counts. It can't be believed because the government assumes that the 2030 target is in fact met, when clearly it will not be. The credibility is in tatters. In addition to that, there is nothing in this announcement that demonstrates to Australians how much it will cost. And that's not reasonable for households, for businesses, for the hard-working manufacturers in this country who want answers and are seeing their electricity bills skyrocket. Under this government, we're seeing a trifecta of energy failures. Costs are up, reliability is down, and emissions are flatlining. I have always said we take our responsibility seriously to play our part in reducing emissions internationally. But under this government, emissions are flatlining. 28% when we left office, 28% now. You cannot trust a single thing that this government says. Built into this model must be an assumption that we had a $275 reduction in electricity prices. We know we didn't. Instead, electricity costs have gone up by 39%. And households and businesses are really feeling this. So if the government wants to have an honest conversation with Australians, they need to be upfront about announcements they make in critical areas of energy. Energy is the economy. They need to be upfront about what it will actually cost. Australians deserve to know this. We will always fight for hardworking Australians, for their futures, and we know how much those futures depend on the household cost of electricity and for manufacturing, the cost of energy. Ted.
Thank you, Susan, and I'm here today both as the Shadow Treasurer but also as the Acting Shadow for Energy and Emissions Reduction in Dan Tehan's absence at the moment. This announcement from Labor today, no policy detail, no costing detail, no price impact detail. Labor has no credibility to date because they are failing on their 2030 target. There is no chance they will achieve this 2035 target. Why is it that the government is releasing so much information but fails to tell the Australian people the impact it is going to have? The Treasurer has a 53-page document. I've had a quick read. Not once does that document, apparently modelled by Treasury, outline the cost of Labor's plan to get to 2035. We've seen this movie before. Nearly 4 years ago, this government in opposition stood up and promised the Australian people a $275 reduction in household power bills. Australian households are now paying up to $1,300 more than what they were promised based on their modelling. But the modelling they've done today, that they are releasing in support of their 2035 target, doesn't tell the Australian people how much it's going to cost, does not tell the Australian household the price impact, nor Australian businesses nor regional Australia. This government has no credibility when it comes to climate change and energy. As Susan has made very clear, over the last 3+ years, under this government, we have seen prices go up, reliability go down, and emissions just flatline. They have zero credibility whatsoever, and today's release of information was nothing more than a word salad of promises which, again, will not be kept. And to have a promise of 2035 based on this false premise that 2030 will be met, when I cannot find one independent expert in the country which says 2030 is actually going to be met. This is an absolute offence to the Australian people who are suffering under a cost of living crisis as a direct consequence of poor government policy, and Australians would rightly be deeply concerned about the 2035 target, and on their behalf, on behalf of the 27 million Australians who are struggling under this government, the Coalition will absolutely oppose this 2035 target.